1 2 1 2, and we are back again with another episode of From Downtown. Today is March 18th, 2024. It's a nice Monday, and we have finally made it to the Monday after Selection Sunday. March Madness for women's as well as the men's are starting this week, so we can go ahead and dive straight into uh, college brackets. I want to say I will touch on college baseball because it was very crazy this past weekend. A few teams getting upset. A few undefeated teams didn't leave undefeated. Um, and we'll talk about like I said, we'll talk about NBA and a little college baseball later. But going straight into it, let's start with the women's. The women's side of NCAA March Madness is very top heavy, no pun intended. It's just the fact that most of the teams that are 1, 2, and 3, shit, even 4, are definitely like powerhouses here. Like they are going to be a tough out for anybody, not especially fucking a team that I'm not going to say played a caliber of team like that so far, but it's like um, get it out the way. Like the ones right now in each conference are what you got: South Carolina, you got Iowa, you have Texas. They ended up being the one. I think and USC ended up being the one. Like those teams like are very fucking good. Of course they're ones, of course, but it's like you look at a 1 seed in the men's one. We'll get to it later, but it's like you look at a 1 seed in the men's college basketball, and you'd be like, this team could lose if they come out and they don't play this type of way. But in women's college basketball, you're looking at it totally different. I'm like, shit, nobody should be able to beat Iowa coming straight into it. Nobody should be able to beat South Carolina. Nobody should be able to beat USC unless Juju fucking goes out the bitch and shoot 50 shots and only make 16 of them. But if I'm saying 16, that's still like a 40-point game. Goddamn, I'm tripping. But other than that, it's like I'm not gonna fucking go against Texas because I know that Texas also has Stanford in their region. Same thing with Iowa. Iowa has us in their region. Iowa's 1, and we're number 3. LSU got like the bad luck of the draw with the fact that we couldn't beat South Carolina. I guess in that last championship game, South Carolina ended up undefeated, so they got to stay there. Got to stay as high as then. I wanted us to get like a 2 seed, but yeah, it was nothing else we can do there. But like I said, like I just feel like those teams in between that 1 and 4 range can really make hell for each other. And I don't know when they'll play or what time that'll come around, but it's like we have to figure out what team is going to make that push right now at the end of the season. Because it's like you never want to play at LSU. Of course you don't. Like we gonna always be on your ass no matter where we at. But it's like who else? What other team is gonna be like that? Like I think like it's like a Notre Dame, like a North Carolina, like a low seed. North Carolina not really low, but like they like 8. But it's like a seed that's low enough to where you are playing damn near 50-50 throughout the whole March Madness. So you have to be prepared for a lot of the things that's going on around the landscape of college basketball because there isn't much more for the girls college basketball like women's game that we can look forward to, I guess, producing or having in March Madness when it comes around. So being able to just have LSU at 3 and Iowa at 1 is going to do a lot to generate, I guess, the outcome or the fandom of college basketball for women's. And anything that goes along that guideline of what can we see as being a indicator in how we view women's college basketball after this year. Like Angel Reese probably leaving, uh, Caitlin Clark gone, Juju freshman, you got another year. But it's like seeing that type of stretch from women's college basketball has really inspired a lot of college basketball across the board because like this is the most fun thing to watch right now, women's college basketball. Um, and before I get into the boring college basketball, which has definitely been the men's this whole season, the stars are what leads a conference or a organization or what's a sport like what's the fucking word for that? Those type of stars lead star athletes lead those fucking sports ahead. Like, and it's it's easy to say because like NBA, you got Michael, you got LeBron. WNBA, you had Sue Bird, you had Diana Taurasi. You gotta have those stars, and right now I feel like the college basketball scene for boys is terrible. Like you have, I can't say a star, but it's like the coaches and the way the game is being played right now, it's not even fun to watch. You might have a Rob Dillingham, a DJ Wagner on your team, but he can't really get off because of how this team is run. A dysfunctional USC team stunts the growth of Isaiah Collier all the way to Boogie Ellis, all the way to Bronny. Like at the end of the, I'm not even saying the end of the bench, but I'm just saying like somebody who they thought wasn't even gonna play this year. Like that dysfunctionality in college basketball for men is fucking terrible. Like it can't happen. It can't happen. Like you're gonna be a one and done, of course. You can't come in here and shit it up and stink it up and then expect us to keep looking forward to the next number one overall McDonald's All American player for next year. And we can't do it. So before I even dive into this shit, let me just go ahead and go start off with the boys bracket. Like I said, a lot of the ones here, the only true one, if you ever listen to any of our shit, is like the only one that I can truthfully say that should make it all the way through is UConn. North Carolina is a one that can lose in the second round to me. Houston is a one if I guess what's the word I'm looking for? If that defense doesn't hold up, Houston could be gone in the round of 16. Like Longwood isn't a bad team, but Houston's defense is crazy. It's top tier crazy. Like that's the star of college basketball right now. For me, Houston's defense. like can you keep up with them? And the other one, of course, is Purdue. I think Purdue can make it past the first couple rounds, of course, because of Zach Edey. Solely because of Zach Edey. You know, you playing against a Montana State. Oh no, I think Grambling can beat Montana State. So you're probably playing against a Grambling first round. Come back out there and you play TCU. I think TCU can beat Utah State. But it's like, what else could be said about shit? The top team that we can be like, oh, this wouldn't work out. This wouldn't work out for them. Out of everything that really goes on in college basketball, I feel that Houston. Well, of course, I don't want to put too much on. So let's just go ahead and think. Logically, let's think unbiasedly, and just keep it pushing. Because honestly, I don't see a world in which two ones make it to the Elite Eight. I don't think we see two number one seeds in the Elite Eight. That I'm gonna stand on that. Like UConn can definitely get through. UConn is in the toughest region of college basketball in March Madness right now. UConn has to go up against Florida Atlantic, Northwestern, San Diego State, Auburn, BYU, Illinois, Iowa State. It's like these are teams that damn near ain't lost 10 games. Like it's crazy that UConn is 31-3, of course, but it's like these are teams that can definitely string some shit together and you be out there, you be lost, you be stuck. So that region, that East region, I don't want to go too crazy, but it's like UConn gonna make it through to me. But that West region, this is where shit gets crazy. North Carolina is your one. Howard and Wagner is your playing game. I think Wagner beats Howard. Howard came close to beating Georgia Tech like early in the season. I think that was their biggest like game that I feel like they came close to winning against like biggest opponent to like what it really matters. Howard's in Virginia. Georgia Tech is not too far away. So I think that game wasn't really a telltale. But North Carolina is in what I would like to call a gimmick region. All right. So your 8-9 is Mississippi State against Michigan State. Michigan State hasn't done anything in my eyes to make the tournament, even at 9. I don't know if the Big Ten is just worse than what I was expecting. Like Wisconsin could have made it or some dumb shit like that. But it's like Michigan State is not the team in which I expect to keep moving on, unless those seniors with Izzo, they find a way in March. I can't really go against that. They find a way in March. But what really is crazy to me is that the fact that your 5 seed is the WCC champion, they're not the WCC champions. They are actually the WCC runner-ups. St. Mary's at number 5 against Grand Canyon. I think that St. Mary's here is going to be a tough out for a team such as Creighton or even Alabama, because I think that Bama game, like thinking about how Bama plays, like that's going to be a lengthy game of people just clogging up the passing lanes, not allowing people to score. Um, or it can be vice versa, the way you see the games like Alabama always puts up where it's 100 fucking points, and due to St. Mary's inefficiencies on offense, they lose their game because St. Mary's can score 100. Like that's just a given. But this is the side of the bracket to where I feel like North Carolina probably doesn't make it out. Like Arizona is at 2 here, and the only reason they're at 2, I feel like they fucked up somewhere along the line before the Pac-12 tournament, and it ended up taking like one extra loss in North Carolina. North Carolina might be 26-8. North Carolina is 27-7. Arizona is 25-8. So it's like that one loss before them. They couldn't really put together as many games as North Carolina did. I don't know if it was tournament games or it was just regular ACC games that pushed them over the hump. But Arizona to me is a 1. Arizona to me is a clear cut 1. Like you've been balling all year. Like it's not too many teams that ever spanked your ass. North Carolina, they got spanked like at least twice. So it's like I gotta put that into consideration, knowing that Arizona is there, and that's a good one to me with Baylor at 3 and Bama at 4. I mean, like 1 through 4, it's a toss up for who could have been 1. I mean, records say North Carolina should be 1, but eye test, gameplay, game watching. I think that somebody else could have definitely snuck over there, bitch, and took 1. Um, in the Midwest region, where Purdue is the number 1 seed, we have Gonzaga at 5, which I feel like can be a tough team to play in the I guess, in March right now. Creighton at 3, and Texas or Tennessee at 2. Hmm. Thinking about the length that Tennessee has, I think that might be the only team that I can see that matches up well to play against Purdue on paper. But like I said, anything can happen. Gonzaga just doesn't have a big that's close enough. They play McNeese, which is a 12 seed, which is crazy work. McNeese is actually a 12 seed. They jumped over fucking. Let me see what schools they jumped over. They jumped over St. Peter's. They jumped over Samford. They jumped over Grambling and Montana State. They jumped over Oakland. They jumped over Western Kentucky to fucking come into this March Madness and be a 12 seed. Like, I thought the Southland Conference fucking bid would have been so small. Like you would have had to be a 15 or a 14 just because you coming from the Southland Conference. Nigga, like, we don't even know who the fuck else in there. To be honest, this side of the bracket is where I feel like it could be a kind of a gimmick for Purdue. Like I said, a lot of teams can't match up, but one team that can is Tennessee, and Tennessee will have to come up against a strong Texas or Creighton team after these first couple rounds, and I feel like that's what's gonna fuck them up. So Marquette is here as well, and I see Marquette making Elite Eight, which means that at some point somebody got to take that L, and I'm thinking it'll be, I don't know. I don't want to really put it on it because I see Kansas is at 4, and we talked about Kansas and UConn earlier in the season. Just we want more out of those two because we know what they can do. We know what to expect out of them. So, moving on to the South region, Houston is at 1, Duke is at 4, Florida at 7, Marquette at 2. Oh, I was speaking for the wrong region. Marquette is at 2. So, like I said, Midwest is really geared for Purdue to win it. Only person that can light it up or keep you close enough lengthwise pause is Tennessee. And they're at 2 on the Midwest side. So, the South, Houston is 1, Marquette is 2, Florida, Kentucky at 3, NC State, Texas Tech, Duke, Vermont, Wisconsin, James Madison. Um, to be honest, looking at this, Nebraska, Texas A&M is an 8-9 game, and I just want to speak on like how fucking good Nebraska played in the tournament, as well as how they ended the year with your boy with the young Jeremy Lin. But it's like, is that a gimmick, or is Nebraska good enough to beat an SEC rebounding type of school that literally, without Wade Taylor, probably wouldn't score 60 points? So it's like, can you stop that type of defensive efficiency? I think Tyrese Raff was still there. I think a lot of people will overlook Texas A&M coming into this. Just I don't know why, but I think that Nebraska to me is more of a gimmick. Like, they got a great shooter, and he can get a shot off from over anybody. But that's a gimmick to me. Real bucket getters: Cam Jones, Rob Sheed from Houston. Uh, like real bucket getters are in this. They're in the South right now, and I feel like we have to be prepared for people to really put up numbers and to really ball out in March Madness to make a name for themselves. Like I said, like the regular season didn't really show us names, but I feel like this tournament time, it definitely woke up a lot of kids. It definitely woke up a lot of them. So I think that Houston actually makes it through to the at least Sweet 16. I will definitely give them Sweet 16. Uh, Elite Eight is where I feel like things get tricky for them, either having to play Duke. Um, yeah, having to play Duke right there would be kind of bad for them. I would per se, but yeah, this is another conference in which I feel like the one would have trouble making it out. The only two conferences I feel like I don't know. The only two conferences I really feel like could be with a one seed still going forward when the Elite Eight comes around is Purdue and UConn. And yeah, that's all I have for college basketball. Parts of March Madness challenges and all of that. I definitely will be putting up the brackets and my picks for who I think will win those games. Our bracket challenge with ESPN through ESPN to make sure that people stay up to date and to stay, I guess, ready for what we have coming with college basketball throughout the next couple days. So, this is it for college basketball. Next, I'll be talking about college baseball and some NBA for the rest of the day.